Good morning. So I woke up at 3:30 again. Came down and slept in the chair. This whole pregnancy thing is no joke. But I woke up at 5. It's taken me a while to get kind of started. I got the computer up and running. I got a little distracted doing vlog YouTube stuff. I'm gonna finish just kind of doing what I was doing. I'm making a new YouTube channel to put the videos on. I hadn't really looked into how to do that, and so I kind of went down a rabbit hole. But after I spend another like 5 minutes on that, I'm going to switch over and actually do some writing for a little bit, and then as soon as my brain sort of slows down, I might hop on to do some more video editing. But we'll see how I'm feeling. I'm very tired. And in about half an hour, my kids wake up and I have to get them ready for school. So that is the plan, and hopefully I don't get too distracted. I find when I'm tired, I'm much more easily distracted. So I will try to stay on track today. Okay, I got about 500 words, like one shy, but I'm going to round up. I don't know how long I was writing, maybe 15-20 minutes. I got a little distracted. I realized I was getting to a point where I needed a description of a building, so I had to go to Pinterest and sort of search for what I was thinking in my head. And then I also realized that because I want to do more filming of what I'm doing, I needed to find ways to get good angles, because I've been struggling. I've been propping it up on random things, like the last video I propped up right here, which was fine, but then I also realized I have a tripod. So I went to go grab it just so that I could have a little bit of a little bit more control of where the camera was. So that took some time. But it turned out really good. I liked what I wrote. I am currently working on a book that is currently called All Eyes on Me. It is, I don't even know what it is yet. I think it's a thriller. It's basically, what happens when you kind of have to follow the killer post a murder. I don't think that's a big surprise because that's going to happen in like one of the first chapters, so it's not like a spoiler or anything. And yeah, so it's been really fun to kind of write it. It's sort of my story that I can distract myself with while I'm working on the other one that's part of a series that's a little more complicated. At least right now. This one might get more complicated. I find that Act 1s are usually a lot easier for me to write, which is where I'm at here. And then Act 2 up until the midpoint and even past the midpoint, is really where I struggle, and that's where I'm at on the other story. So that's why when that story's, I'm fumbling a little bit, it's like I have this one to sort of go to when I have the 15-20 minutes to do some writing, but I'm not really feeling up for the other one because the other one's going to take a little bit more thought. So that's where I'm at. I've got about 5 minutes before my alarm goes off, and I got to go get the kids. So I might try to do a little bit of video editing. Luckily, that doesn't take much time, so I will try to get some of that done and then go get the kids. Okay, so I did a little bit of editing and writing this morning. I am now currently working on some edits for the video that need to be rendered. So while I'm doing that, I'm also sorting through some of the stuff that was on my desk. I had gone through the Rough Draft Challenge in November, which is sort of a replacement for NaNoWriMo, and I had written all the words down, but I need to erase it so that I can reuse it. And because I was doing 2 stories at once, I was able to track how many words per book I was doing per day. But it's a bit of a mess, and so I just transferred them onto a piece of paper. I made a cute little image for one of them that I am coloring in for how long I think the book is going to be. The other one, I didn't quite have time to do that, and I'm going to hopefully start journaling in January. So I didn't want to go put a whole bunch of work into making an image for that second story until I had my journal and I could put it all in one place. So now that I transferred all this information into the notebook, I can erase this and start reusing it. The other thing that I have is this is probably a little extra, but I work with clay sometimes, and I had some extra, and so I made cute little clay books that I put in a jar. And so now as I write every 1,000 words, I'm going to put it in from this jar into an empty jar, sort of as a way to track how many words I'm actually getting overall versus each book. So the jars are for words written overall. The notebook tracking is per book. It's not hard for me to write 2 stories at the same time, but I'm trying to find what works best for me to track what word tracking process works for me when you have multiple books. Because I think before I would just write and then I wouldn't really know the progress, and so I would just sort of just assume I'm doing really well. And I want to do a little bit better about tracking how many words I actually write per year. And so I'm just kind of practicing now so that when January comes around, I can, that way when January comes around, I sort of have my process already in place. I also have my note cards per book. This book is my series, and that's why there's multiple colors, because each color represents 3 of my main characters. And then I have one that's just one because it's a first-person point of view, and so there's not going to be a ton of extra point of views as far as right now. That might change, but as of right now, it's just her POV. And yeah, so I was just sort of clearing this up. I'm going to do something to this to mark which of these jars is actually what I still have left to do and then what's done. And I want to find a way to hang these up, maybe up on the wall, so that I can keep track of where they are, because right now I have a whole bunch of, here I'll show you. You can probably see a whole bunch of like different groups of the cards, and they're getting a little confusing. So I sometimes pull cards out when I'm working on a certain act, so I'll pull out like all of Act 2. But if I'm doing that for multiple books, then there's a whole bunch of different stacks of cards. And so I want to make sure that like what I have done or what I need to do is up on the wall, but then what I'm currently working in progress is the only stuff that's actually on the desk. The desk itself is not very big. And so I don't have a lot of real estate here. So I need to make sure that I use up what space I can. And we actually have some space that's taken up for other things. We have a desert tortoise right here, and so some of his items, some of the turtle items are up here. I'd rather have a better place for them, and I might move them eventually, but right now that corner is for the turtle, and the rest of it is just trying to manage some of my stuff, along with, this is not just my computer, this computer the kids also use, so whatever I have out here, I have to make sure that I can put it far enough away to where the kids aren't knocking them over. I know my youngest has knocked over like jars and stuff before, so wherever I put it, I need to be able to move it forward and back, depending on when I'm using the computer and when the kids are using the computer. So that's what I'm currently doing right now. I did do a little bit of writing, but right now I think because I wrote this morning, what I really need to do right now, and I have a little bit of time and a little bit of energy, is do an outline. I was interrupted by my little one and I lost track of where I was. I believe I was talking about what my writing process is. So I usually do writing sprints. Not always on purpose. Sometimes it's just I have 20 minutes, so we're just going to write for 20 minutes until the kids wake up or the kids come and talk to me and do all the things. But when I get to the point where I'm really close to that time being over, or it's over and I have like maybe 3 to 5 minutes, I will do a quick bullet point of where I want the next part of the story to go. And I wasn't able to do that this morning because I was in the middle of video edits and writing. So right now, because I have a little time, I might go back to where I ended this morning and sort of bullet point what I want to happen in the story. At this point, it's a conversation. I have my main character standing there and someone comes in to talk to her. And I need to sort of work through in my head what the conversation is going to be like. I need certain things to happen, and I need to figure out how to put that in there smoothly. Again, this is just the first draft, so nothing's set in stone. Things are going to be edited, but I like to have sort of an outline, a very rough outline of where I want the conversation to go before I get into it. Same with if I need to get my character from point A to point B. Sometimes I'll do a bullet point of like, where is she going? Why does she need to get there? What's her purpose for getting there? And when she first initially walks in, or she's just there when it opens up, then what happens? So that's what I'm going to be working on right now, as well as finishing up some of the organization I was doing.